listeners. Welcome to the Music Festivals podcast. This is the show that helps you get to know music festivals, festival venues, and campgrounds before you go. I'm your host, Neighbor Nate, and I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. And welcome back, neighbors, to episode number 45 of the Music Festivals podcast. This is the show that helps you get to know music festivals, festival venues, and campgrounds before you go. And as always, I am your host, Neighbor Nate. And this is the official start of season 3 on this podcast, whatever the hell that actually means. It's been around for almost a year now. If you notice the YouTube channel, if I look at my analytics, we are coming up on a year. So there's going to be some type of celebration for that. But today we have a great episode. I have another installment in our series on the upcoming Pickin' on Picnic Festival that's happening July 10th through the 13th in Lost Hill Lake. That's a great campground in St. Clair, Missouri. And my guest today leads the Love Preachers. They're an Illinois-based roots band who will be playing at the festival for the first time. And she and her music are getting a lot of attention recently. She's known for some heartfelt storytelling, and her songs explore themes of love, loss, and renewal. So I'm very excited to welcome to the show Miss Taylor Steele from the Love Preachers. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi, Nate. How are you?
Good. I'm glad that we can do this. And before the show, we were talking. This is your first time playing at Pickin' on Picnic, so congratulations. How does that feel for you guys?
I can't even describe it, honestly. It's been on my radar since 2019 or so, and never thought it would actually happen.
Nice.
So yeah, and we have a new record to play, or play a bunch of songs from this new record, and I think that our sound and development through that, and a good recording. I love the songs too, so I think that kind of played a part in being able to get booked, and Ryan kind of falling in love with us the way he has. So
that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, Ryan's a good guy. I'm curious though, what is it? So you sound like you said you were waiting, on the opportunity to get to play at Pickin'. What is it about Pickin' on Picnic that really gets you excited?
Well, and I haven't been to the festival either, so it's kind of admiring it from afar. And in Effingham, we have our own festivals, so I think a lot of it too, even at the time and still now, like this will be kind of the first bigger festival, maybe a little bigger than what we have here, that I've been a part of for years now, and a part of that community, to be able to kind of branch out and do other festivals too.
That's very cool.
Always done our own every year, but I want to travel a little bit more and mainly share my new music and our sound that we built for years with other people, and with people specifically in an area that people will appreciate it and love it.
So that's awesome. I think you'll get a good crowd at Pickin'. This is my first time going, so I'm unfamiliar as well, but I've watched a lot of the videos on it, and it looks like a really good time. So I'm very excited for this one.
I can't wait. And I love bluegrass music too. And our stuff isn't as super forward bluegrass like this is. So I love our band not being bluegrass. And I always think of us as like a palate cleanser. I love being that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and we're starting to see that too, different forms of whether it's, derivatives of country or bluegrass or jamgrass or all the stuff that's in between. It seems like there's a lot of exploration. Your sound, you grew up in Southern Illinois. So how did that kind of influence the way that you play music?
Well, I grew up in Collinsville, Illinois too. So, and I'm still like getting used to the thought of me being a Southern Illinoisan, which I am. Like I've always thought of myself as like Central Illinois. But I think where I'm at now, I think living out in the country more, going through life challenges and struggles, grief. Like this new record is a lot to do with grief and losing family, and the family I'd grown up with when I lived in Collinsville too. But I think overall that music influence I have is from my grandpa teaching me to play when I was really, really little, over in Collinsville. So my experience growing up, that I think is unique to anyone I meet, or I haven't really met anyone else that has had the same kind of story growing up with music in terms of like Metro East St. Louis bars. Like I kind of grew up going to those bars as kind of like my home with my family, getting up on stage when I was super little. All that. So it was a very family oriented experience for me.
That's really cool. Who are the folks that you were listening to, growing up and even now? Who are the folks that you like to listen to and influence the sound that you prefer?
Yeah, I still stuck on that, like the bar band stuff. I kind of found okay, so my grandpa was like old school country or like Western swing, country Western. And then I would get like my stepdad's bar band, like they played all the classic rock stuff and like Van Morrison, like Grand Funk and
Nice.
all that. So I kind of, when I went on my own discovering music and what I wanted to do and write, it kind of went down that old folk avenue, like kind of Pete Seeger and even Odetta and all that kind of old folk stuff. And then also like Bob Dylan, Neil Young. Like I went crazy on Neil Young and Crosby, Stills and Nash and honestly 70s, like 60s, 70s, like psychedelic rock.
Okay.
These are my
Nice.
records back here too. I
Oh,
think
nice.
collecting those around that same time, pretty hardcore. But old blues, and finding kind of discovering that all the music I loved, even newer stuff, all just ties back to old blues music and all
Yeah.
that. So roots.
I've got some good friends that are vinyl collectors, right? Do you feel like
Yeah.
your gravitation towards vinyl played a role in how you discovered music? Looking like, did you look
It was the
specifically for
opposite.
records or? Okay.
It was the opposite actually, because I think, being with my grandpa in, like, the basement at their house, it was, like, his music room was, like, kinda like my playroom. So he had records and an old record player, and so it kinda was just paired together with my experience of music, and I think that love of analog came out of that without I don't know, I've always joked too that, like, my
Yeah.
generation before me, like, the hipster thing, what ended up being analog. And to say I'm
Right.
not a hipster is the most hipster thing you can do.
Okay. Yeah.
But, no, I felt like I organically stumbled into loving, analog and vinyl and experiencing, like, going to vintage vinyl for the first time with my
That's really
grandpa
cool.
when I was, like, 12 or something like that. So
That's
I fell in
awesome.
love with it for sure.
That's awesome. So you have a 2024 album, High Feeling, and you talked about how that explores a lot of grief and loss. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about the creative process in that album and kind of where your head was with it.
Okay, it's a good question. After our first album, and I guess after this one now too, not knowing what the next thing I'm going to create is or when. I've never been a songwriter that will sit down intentionally and write a bunch of songs at one time. So I think all the songs on this new record all kind of came out very or like organically or meaningfully when they needed to, like without forcing it, I guess,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So and in a way that surprised me because through some of that grief, I wasn't creative, like didn't feel creative. Even through all the time I wrote the songs, it's like took that one moment of inspiration to let a song like that come out and then live with it or let it heal me a lot. So these
Yeah.
songs are different, I think, because they were written in the purpose of something that had to get out that was to heal me and for me to be okay. I've always
Yeah.
been that way with writing.
Yeah.
So, but musically, it turned out to be this insanely cool, kind of transformative thing with each song because I've always written them all myself, guitar and vocals at home, or by
Yeah.
myself on guitar, and then bringing it with like to the band. We would change a lot and arrange it and write it more and the musical arrangement together than we really have before. So,
Yeah.
I would say Never Apart, like the first song, and then the title song, High Feeling. Good Friends Lament is another one
Okay.
that one probably wins the prize of being so much different after like the end finished product versus when I wrote it at home on my
Yeah.
couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What
but
what
I
is
love
that
them
like?
all too.
Like, what is that like where you're writing something that, and I've heard a lot of other musicians talk about how it's cathartic sometimes to write the song and get whatever emotion is in you out, especially when it's more negative emotions. But then you bring that to a group of other musicians,
Yeah.
and that's really personal. And so how does that feel for you? Like, is it scary?
It never has been, and I think you saying it that way, I think, my bandmates are like my family, and we've been together for 7 years or so, and they've always known me. So I think I'm not afraid to show my true self or emotions to them. But I think I've never even normally thought about it that way in that vulnerability that it
Yeah.
really is
Yeah.
there. So I think just being comfortable with them. But like you said, like negative emotions, I think I surprised myself the most with these songs it was a point where I'd experienced grief and loss, but a lot of beauty came out of it, like light in the
Yeah.
darkness, like a spiritual awakening, a lot of stuff I'd experienced that I wouldn't have had if if all that horrible,
Yeah.
the grief wasn't there. So a lot of life lessons that everybody goes through, I think, that I was experiencing for the first time was
Yeah.
able to come out in those songs that have ultimately still helped and guide me
Yeah.
personally. And knowing that now I'm able to like kind of bring myself out of my head and have a see the bigger picture on being down at that time, coming out of it now and being out and playing for people, like what these
Yeah.
songs can actually mean for other people.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to settle into that, and that's kind of bringing me extra joy too.
That's cool.
So,
That's very
yeah.
cool. So you guys, in terms of the summer, we're just, getting into festival season. I think it's, we're coming up on the unofficial launch of summer with Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
What do you guys have going on this summer? Where are you going to be outside of, we'll talk about picking on picnic here in a moment, but where else can we look for you?
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so we just recently played Broadway Oyster Bar for the first time. So we will have a date coming up. Like my first example is a date we don't actually have yet, but
Yeah.
I think later in the summer we'll have another date with them. I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and pop up here on my schedule. We played Bloomington, Illinois a lot in the past. There's a place
Yeah.
called Distill Brewery. We're playing next Saturday.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, we recently got booked for Vets and Vespas at the Real Automotive in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's going to be June 14th. So that's kind of
Okay.
coming up.
And
We
then
have
did you guys
our
have
music
Moccasin
festival.
Creek?
Yeah, I
Is
was
that,
just gonna. That was the
yeah.
next thing I was gonna say. That weekend after that is Moccasin Creek. That's our festival over here.
Okay.
I've been
Cool.
playing that since I was 18 solo. So our band has played that just about every year.
That's very cool.
Um,
That's very cool.
but that's our festival
Yeah.
grounds out here. Like we have something this Sunday too called Time to Kill Camp Out. My buddy Garrett's in my band, and I'm in his band.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it every year for I forget what year it is, like how far in it is, but Nick Guspin and the Coyotes and yeah, I'm so excited because we played a show with Nick and their band. We brought Nick Guspin over here to Village Wine downtown in Effingham and done a show. It's like a really cool room that we can do like a listening room thing or a full band
That's
thing.
cool.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of getting to St. Louis more and sharing with artists that I've met and collaborating and trying to get into new places. Really, I'm just trying to book still.
Yeah. No, that's totally cool. And one of those is going to be Picking on Picnic with Ryan
Yeah.
and everybody else that's going to be there. So what are you looking forward to most for playing at this festival? Um,
I think the experience of being on stage, well prepared, other than just sharing the songs, but I think looking out to the crowd and being there with the crowd and
yeah.
everybody, experiencing that like kind of oneness that's been probably going to build up or will be built
Yeah.
up by that point. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of energy at festivals, especially when you have, so many bands playing in one place at one time. Is there anybody that, if you had your wish list, that you would get to collaborate with or that you would get to jam with while you're there?
Ew. Oh, while I'm there. Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, I thought about this already, actually. I think Alley Crawl.
Okay.
Um, because of I think our new record calls for fiddle for sure. Like it would
Yeah.
elevate our songs or really add to the songs we have. That would be an awesome collaboration. I did actually think of that yesterday or the
Yeah.
day before about like, man, I should probably reach out and like maybe try to make something happen like that. You never know.
Yeah.
But to
That'd be
add
really
on to
cool.
that, I think what I want to get out of the festival too is meeting other local artists,
Yeah.
and just like getting to, I guess, for them to see me and who I am, what I do, and to be able to potentially have like make those kind of new friendships and connections.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it sounds like, at least from what I've heard from other folks who have played this festival, that there's a lot of jam sessions that happen out and around in
Oh
the
yeah, I
campground
didn't
or
even
at
think of that
fires.
yet.
Yeah, I mean that I think that's one of my favorite things about bluegrass festivals is just the amount of improv music that pops up all over the place.
Yeah,
Do you guys plan to like, take an acoustic, anything and go around and try to join in on that?
I would for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure our, bassist Garrett, he'd be into that too.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
always feel bad for
yeah,
the
that's
people with the
the
bass 'cause that's a long hike
well,
with
he
a big
plays
instrument.
guitar. I'm sure he can bring a guitar and
Brings a guitar too.
do
That's
that sort of
awesome.
thing too. Yeah, he writes
That's
his own
cool.
songs and has his own album and everything, but,
So what else is on radar for you guys? It sounds like, you've really crossed a big bridge with getting the record together, the album together. What's next?
well, I think booking and trying to get like, playing new places, even new locations, and kind of revamping all of our stuff again. We're kind
Yeah,
I still feel like we're just on me personally, still just coming back to life since COVID too, like
yeah.
having the record done and sounding as good as it does, which I think Garrett, our bassist for that too, he recorded all of it and
Oh,
mixed
that's
all of
cool.
it. Andrew Evans, our graphic designer for Moxon Creek, Summer Sundown, our festivals over here, did our artwork for High Feeling that I'm in love with. Oh my god, it's so
That's cool.
good. But it like the artwork has some elements of like sentimentality, like some like a banner. Or the circle band is like from one of my grandpa's hats, and I have a
Oh, that's
bolo
cool.
tie. That eagle is from a bolo tie that I got from him. Like,
Yeah,
and that album's a very much like a tribute to my family and everything. But I wanted to thank him for how good the artwork is. Um, and in saying that, I want to get it on vinyl to
yeah,
start working on that process. I haven't yet, or I haven't been ahead of the game on it, but just getting back to booking and getting better photos, like playing live and getting videos to posting more often all the time now. That's
yeah.
kind of been the focus.
So, yeah, I'm
Um,
curious about that. Like, as a new, well, fairly new band, or not fairly new, but what's important to you? Like, it takes a lot of time to do things like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and the website and everything. So, where do you guys focus? Right now, like, where are you seeing like your audience kind of congregate around you?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think sometimes on the social media end, and like my day job is marketing for our
Yeah.
coffee shop. My boyfriend and I own, or he's an owner. I'm the marketing manager for
Okay.
Foxholler Coffee in Effingham. So that's my day job and work from home a lot doing posting
Yeah.
and like photography and all that. So in a weird way, mentally, I couldn't kind of do both at the same time. I had to like drop off my own like band, like selling myself or my business, and could only like handle or focus on, I guess, building skill and all that through the
Yeah.
shops. And now I'm at a point of being able to balance back and like, okay, use all I know now and just find the balance in between. Like even every day when I think about it, just like to share something, or it just takes a second sometimes. So to just take the time out and not have anxiety around it, or I'm a procrastinator
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
so
No, I understand that.
so a lot of that I felt good about it now, like more than I have in a long time. So
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I am very much excited to seeing you guys at the Pick It On Picnic. Again, that's happening July 10th through the 13th at Lost Hill Lake in St. Clair, Missouri. And I want to thank you very much for being a part of the podcast today.
yeah, thank you so much. I love being a part of this kind of stuff. So, and I cannot wait to experience Picking on Picnic. We'll be posting stuff leading up. So
That's awesome. We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll put some links in the show notes for everybody so they can check you guys out in advance.
awesome. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Nate.
Hey, thank you. Cheers. And that is all we have time for this week, neighbors. I'm excited to make the trip to go see Pickin' on Picnic this summer and check out the Love Preachers. Really cool up and coming band, I think. And Taylor's just such a nice person. She's so fun to talk to. But you can see the Love Preachers along with Sliplit Rayfield, the Larry Keel Experience, Armchair Boogie, and the legend himself, Del McCurry Band. If you've never seen Del McCurry live, you really have to. He's still got it. Totally. He's amazing. And there's many, many more bands playing out throughout the weekend, as well well as nightly hosted campfire jams. I know that this particular festival is really kind of infamous for their campfire jams, so I'm excited for that. Again, it's happening July 10th through the 13th, 2025. That is at the Lost Hill Lake Campground in St. Clair, Missouri. And this is the last year at the venue. So if you want to check out that campground, it looks great. Swimming, hiking, nice tree grove, everything else. Definitely take your chance to get down there and check out the Pickin' on Picnic Festival. And you can find out more information about this as well as look at the full lineup for the 10th anniversary of the festival. That's at pickinfestivals.com. Now, if you are a fan of the show, if you regularly tune in, you know that we work with festival promoters like Ryan and the folks at Pickin' to offer you chances to win some great ticket packages for all kinds of different music festivals across genres. To get your chance to enter those drawings and win free tickets, head on over to the website at musicfestivalspodcast.com and look for the tab at the top that says Win Festival Tickets. We still have contests available for the 10th anniversary of Pickin' on Picnic, and that closes 6/15. So you're going to want to hurry up and enter that one if you want to check this festival out. We also have tickets available for the 21st annual Watermelon Pickers Festival, and that's happening September 4th through the 6th at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Berryville, Virginia. Very excited to be doing a series on that one as well, and getting to go to that festival because it looks like it's a really good time. When you enter those contests, you are going to be subscribed to the Neighborhood Weekly newsletter, and you're going to love it because this is where we put out things like festival announcements and special content from interviews and things that you don't necessarily see on the podcast. But you can also get discount codes from our partners, and those partners include outdoorsy.com, Inokim Electric Scooters, Melted Mind Designs, custom tie-dye t-shirts and apparel, and Cast Magic, CapCut, Opus Clip if you're into video editing, as well as the Hohem iSteady M7 gimbal, which is what you can use to go to festivals and take really good video of the bands that you love. And recently we also have added Custom Made Casino, and that's the company that helps me make those cool poker chips that I give out at festivals. So check them out as well. Next week, I am going to be doing a Hookahville 60 recap. I'm heading there this weekend and getting everything ready to go. We're going to be doing everything from live streaming to festival documentaries. It's going to be a hell of a good time. That is over at Roost on the River in Newark, Ohio. You can still also get tickets to that, but hurry because from what I've heard, it's about 90% sold out. This is a smaller festival, and this is going to be one where you're going to see all three eras of acoustic hookah, a band that has been jamming the fuck out for over 30 years. It's badass. If you're listening to the audio podcast, make sure to check out the YouTube channel for more videos that, again, aren't featured, in the other places. And you can join the conversation with your neighbors there in the comments, or find me on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, I am at NeighborNateFests. Anybody who is listening to the show on those audio podcasts, I do appreciate you. If you would go ahead and leave a rating, let us know how we're doing. That would be great. But that, again, is all I have for you this week, neighbors. I hope to see you at a festival very, very soon. Maybe it's going to be Hookahville this weekend. We'll see you there.